If you know the invocation, you can.
Your
Because
voice.
afterwards, I'll take up your questions, so I don't have to share the screen.
Okay. So only the prayer?
Sorry?
Only the prayer you want me to chant?
Yeah, just the prayer first.
Okay. Om Sahana Sahavi Sarvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti.
Okay, so to everyone, outside, so I think everything goes well. Starting with some questions Priyanka has asked. The first question was regarding the sunrise and the sunset. Sunset does not mean it's night. It's just that I cannot see the sun. I think that's quote unquote. This is what I had said in the class, right? Yeah. So her question is night similar to waking state, where I don't see my real self because of the distractions caused by the senses? And in sleep, I can. I'm repeating the question. Is night similar to waking state, where I don't see my real self because of the distractions caused by the senses? First, is night similar to waking state? Uh, I think if you probe along the line of thought, you will get the answer yourself, because we have defined waking state as that in which you are identified with the senses and you gain the knowledge of the world of objects and beings. It is a realm where your senses are awakened, senses are operative, senses are functioning, and you are able to gain the knowledge of their functions. That is what we've called waking state. What is night? Night is actually just an experience of darkness. But if I sleep, night and sleep are not synonyms. They are not interreplaceable words. Night just means I'm not seeing the sun. There's darkness, absence of sunlight. For my experience, not that there is an absence of sunlight by nature, but I am not able to experience sunlight. That is what I'm calling as night. Sleep, on the other hand, is when I'm disconnected with the function of, I'm disconnected with the very function of the senses. In sleep, my senses are not operative. So I can be asleep now during day. And if I'm asleep now, like we have a mid-afternoon sleep, when we are sleeping, that actually is what we are calling as a state where you are existent without your own recognition of who you are. Sleep by definition means you are there, but there is no knowledge of who you are. Whereas waking is absolutely the opposite. You are there, you have knowledge, but that knowledge is erroneous about yourself. You don't have the right knowledge about yourself. There is a misplaced knowledge about yourself. So if you feel yourself to be the name and form, I'm this name and form and whatever we are in the waking state, an experiencer of the waking state. This experiencer of the waking state is limited in their entire scope of knowledge because the scope of their knowledge is based on their senses. जो आंख मुझे दिखा रही है रंग और रूप मुझे उसी का ज्ञान है और उस ज्ञान को मैं अपना ज्ञान समझ रही हूँ my knowledge that about the world. My senses are also activating and my body is now perceived as me. This sense of aham, based on which the ahankar is now there, egoistic notion, ego not in the English sense, but in the individual sense, the sense that I am an individual. This sense is a limited sense in the waking state. It is actually from Vedantic wrong knowledge about yourself. It's incomplete if you want to just make some sort of compensation. Fundamentally, it is completely wrong. The sense of limitation that you hold about yourself is completely wrong in the waking state, but you have the capacity to know. Whereas in sleep, you are yourself, but you don't have the capacity to know. So, I don't see my real self because of the distractions caused by the senses. In the waking state, yes. It is that because we are absolutely identified with our body and senses and memories and wants and etc. Therefore, all that distraction is taking my attention away from my real sense of who I am. And in sleep, I can you?
Don't remember anything. So
Why can't you know in your sleep? Answer is you can't know yourself in sleep. Why? Because the faculty to know is operative in the waking state. So look at the irony. The irony is, in the sleep state, I am who I am, but I can't know who I am. In the waking state, I can know who I am, but I'm entangled with the senses, as you put it. I'm entangled in the senses, and therefore, I get so absorbed and involved in it that I lose the sight of who I am. Is that clear? There's a lag.
So this irony would also apply when Ramana says Manonash when it happens.
I'm coming to that question.
Yeah, okay.
Then we'll cover up the second question. Out of the four components of Antakaranam, which one came first? Antakaranam by itself is one. Just as the elements we saw, one came after the other, that's not happening in Antakaranam. If anything, Antakaranam is only one, it's like a sponge. Then what have we divided it on? We have classified it based on its functions that it exhibits. So, the same Antakaranam, when it is just feelings and emotions, uncertainty, sankalpa vikalma, doubts, we are classifying it as mind. This I think we did in Tattvabodh also. So the classification is only based on the functions. Antakaranam is one. Amongst the four components, which one came first is uh, fallacious to ask, because Probably what you're asking is, out of the four, which one is more fundamental? Because that gets then connected to the next part of your question. Out of Mano, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankar, which is more fundamental? Ahankar is fundamental. Keeping Ahankar are all your other thoughts. And those thoughts can be called Mano, Buddhi, memories, Chit, etc. So Ahankar is that fundamental that is there. So when Ramana says the next part of your question, Ramana talks of Manonash, is he referring to only Man or the entire Karanam, Antakaranam? What is he referring to? Antakaranam, fundamental is Ahankar. So Manonasha means Ahankar Nasha. When Ahankar has got Nasha, then the entire Manovritti, all the other vrittis automatically have Nash. But if you take all the other vrittis and keep handling one after another, supposing I handle my mind very well, I am no longer a self-doubting person, I don't have too much of negative emotion. I'm a nice person, good person, my mind is calm, my mind is composed, I am able to handle the challenges or whatever, at the right time, do the right actions, do the right decisions. All this is a part of personality development. If I'm able to come to this point, which also, of course, needs a lot of practice and training, but supposing I'm coming there, means I have destroyed a lot of negative thoughts. I have overcome a lot of fears, uncertainties, anxiousness. I have overcome all of that. Means I've destroyed those vrittis. But my ahankar remaining where it is. And ahankar, again, I'm going to repeat because a listener can mistake it to mean ego because we talk of it as ego in English. But ahankara means arrogation of aham to this sharira. Aham karna. Aham karna means what? Aham, man mein aham karna, and that aham is body, mind, limited identity. So manonasha means ahankar nasha. Until that ahankar, and now what is that ahankar nasha? Of course, it doesn't mean that I can destroy myself, my sense of individuality by some training on myself. I can't destroy my individuality. I can't destroy my individuality. The one who is in coma. Is your individuality destroyed? Is there a lag?
Yes, Deepti
It's
ji.
not destroyed. I think it's the internet connection. This is the best I can manage here. Connection. So in any other state, just like in sleep, even though I'm freed of individuality, individuality is not destroyed. In sleep, I get relief for some time from the sense of duality and the world. But it doesn't destroy my sense of individuality because I get up again. So individual resurface the way it went to sleep. Before sleeping. What does that mean? I'm going to discuss. So what does this point to? It obviously points to the fact that sleep gives me relief, no doubt. But exactly as I was before I fell asleep, it is resurfaced again as a waking state. क्या हुआ होगा? If we just examine, सोचे, क्या हुआ होगा बीच में? I am so awake today, we would have had a wonderful day, say by the end of the day. हमने बहुत कुछ किया आज, करेंगे अभी बाकी के दिन. रात को सोएंगे. क्वेश्चन इज, सुबह उठ के रात को सोने तक इस इंडिविजुअल ने बहुत कुछ किया. इज बिजी, एंगेज्ड इन एक्टिविटी, इमोशंस, फीलिंग, बहुत व्यवहार किया, बहुत लाइफ एक्सप्रेस की, बहुत इच्छाएं रखी, पूरी की, कुछ कुछ. दिस होल एक्टिविटी अराउंड अस. जब हम सोए, what happened to that entire day's functioning? Where did it go? That, where it went, that it was only unmanifest. It's almost like going back to seed form. What is seed form? The personality, the individuality. So the continuity of the I sense remained. Throughout life, the I sense remained. Question asked is, at death, does this I sense die? That's the inquiry. And obviously, we have to take the help of the Shastra, the scriptures, and the scriptures say it doesn't die. So then the question will come, if it doesn't die there, then is there a respite from this whole vyavhar of expression of I? That they answer then, yes, there is. And what is that? Bring the fact of knowing who you are, destroying the I sense in the light of who you are, because of, in other words,
Can't hear anything, Deepti ji.
am I still audible?
Now you are.
Yeah, we
Now I
can hear
am
it.
in
But
between.
I think if you switch off the slides and the video, then the audio becomes better.
I when I switched
It's
off
already
the
switched
video,
off.
also it did. So I just switched on the audio, the slides. I think that doesn't take anything. Up to where did you hear?
So you were talking about that in when we die, the aham sense
Last
doesn't
five
end.
minutes was silent. Oh, total 5 minutes was silent. Okay, I'll repeat myself. So when you die, does the I sense die? Is where the question comes. I'm rebuilding the thought.
Yeah.
We are waking up. We have lived a day today. We will go to sleep. First inquiry is, where was all this going to go when I go to sleep? Is it gone for good? No, because I wake up again and the same thing as if continues. There was no break in between. Whereas, really speaking, there was a break because I did not experience the continuity in between. Yesterday and today I slept, and that sleep state was a discontinuity of the two waking states. Experiences. The continuity of the waking state was discontinued temporarily. But that discontinuity we can clearly say was temporary because I've woken up again exactly where it was before. The sense of individuality. So now this individuality seems to have gone into a state of seed form. The entire whatever I will do today, question is, will it get destroyed? Will it disappear? What will happen to all this that we are hoping that I will have fruit tomorrow? Even a common sense approach of ours, I do an action because I expect a result. Even at that level, I'm hoping that there is a continuity because I want to see a fruit tomorrow. That means I am in knowledge of a continuity. But in my experience, actually, the continuity seems to disappear for some time in between, regularly, not occasionally, not sporadically. It's not a hit and try. Kabhi ho gayi, kabhi nahi hui. It is regular, as if it's nature's rhythm. That regularly I get a discontinuity of this sense of individuality. Now that question was, that just shows that this whole sense of individuality and my interaction has gone into seed state. Because from seed, it mushrooms again, flourishes again into my waking state when my senses become active. And then again, as if by rhythm, they fold back again into seed form. And again, there's certain flowers like that. With the morning sunlight, they bloom. And as the sun sets, they wind up their petals again. As if this is a rhythm, ordained rhythm in everyone. Then the rishis asked, what happens on death? Will my I disappear? Will it vanish? What will happen to I? Sense, individual sense. Is it only for that waking world, waking, as long as I have a birth till I die? What use is that I then if it has no continuity and it is going to end at some point with my death? It will never resurface again. Will that be the nature of I? That it doesn't resurface at all? No. That's what the Rishis and the Shastra tells us then to explore. If this I sense has had continuity even throughout your waking state, but you were discontinued in experience of it, that means that continuity will last till when? Till in the waking state where you have the capacity to know, you are able to truly discern the continuity of the I that you keep experiencing between the two waking states. Apparently, actually speaking, truly speaking, there was a break. Why did I not feel the break of my individuality when the world actually was not even experienced in my sleep? Is this clear so far? Since I can see no, I don't know.
Yes,
Hello?
Vipulji. Yeah.
Okay. So once this I has been correctly discerned, that method of discernment, Ramana put here is individual I when it is completely destroyed means great. The entire notion is disappeared, gone, dissolved. It's dissolved. When you put salt in water, before water is separate, salt is separate, or sugar, whatever, any dissolvable thing. They are two separate things. Once that is dissolved inside, salt is mixed inside, you can't separate it, but you can taste it. You can taste salty water. sugary water. But you cannot separate the salt in the water. You can't see it as separate anymore. That kind of dissolution where the separation is no longer known. Limitation of the example, only this much please accept. The separation is not known. It isn't there. It's not seen. Today, what is our experience? There seems to be the consciousness that I am. Shastra tells me I am conscious, I am Atma, I am etc. But there is also a separate I that I feel, which is actually the body, mind, sense complex alone. I only feel this as I. That separation, Ramana says, through inquiry of aham, and where does it rise, and just by sheer observation of it, that is like salt dissolving in water. The I dissolves away. That dissolution of small I is what is manonasha. Thereafterwards, the small I cannot rise back, will not surface back. Small I has lost its significance. It's not there. Actually, there's nothing to say. There's no word to say. It's just not there. So while you are still operative, functioning, but there will be no sense of individuality. Okay. So far, everyone?
So basically, in case of mind itself has to realize that it does not exist.
Mind by itself is inert. It is you, the individual, who's sharing the consciousness and mind. You are exhibiting both in a mixed way. So you, the individual, will be discerning. What is mind?
Yeah.
Means all thoughts. First stage will be you will connect it to the I thought and you will see that they are entirely dependent on the I thought. Aham vritti. And then the second stage of it will be where the aham vritti itself is seen only to rise and fall. Disappear for a short time, rise again. When that rising and falling is constantly seen, that steady background, that steady nishthan, that steady substratum, that steady screen will shine forth, feeling itself. And when, because the vritti will be now as good as insignificant, attention would have.
Right. So basically, my I sense of the individual is a combination of the consciousness and the mind.
Yeah.
And then I have to
And
realize.
that is called your, that's right, that is your jivatvam, that is your ego as an individuality. Okay.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Deepti.
So, any other question? If you don't have, we'll move forward. We are just at the conclusion now.
Yes.
So now we are on the 27th verse. Finish the 27th verse. That actual knowledge, what is a indication of real knowledge? Knowledge, not vritti gyan, but knowing. Knowingness. The torch that is lighting the objects but that light is not able to light up the battery. That means battery is not having the capacity to reveal itself, but it has the capacity to reveal other things. Consciousness, Atma, is that which has the capacity to reveal itself and also reveal everything that falls in it. आप सब कुछ भी जान सकते हो और आप खुद को भी जान सकते हो, because that Atma consciousness, that knowingness is actually free of all vritti jnanam, thought-based knowledge. And absence of that vritti jnana means ignorance, what I don't know. Knowingness has to be discerned free of ignorance and sense knowledge. Once that knowingness is known, jnanam asti. Once that knowingness is known, kim gyatum antaram. Now what is there left to be known after? That's the culmination. There is nothing left to be known. In other words, I'm making a very sweeping statement, a huge statement. From our standpoint, we wake up, we sleep, years go by, first days, weeks, years go by. This waking and sleeping cycle is ignorance-based. What ignorance? Atma Ajnanam. Ignorance of oneself as Atma. Once there is knowledge of oneself as Atma, ignorance is destroyed. And so what happens is this waking and sleep in which I am the limited I is also destroyed. That knowingness, I can't call it an attribute, that knowingness where it is recognized. Then light and torch was the best example. Is repeated. Light will reveal everything because anything that falls in the path of that light gets illumined. The same way, consciousness is the knowingness. Through it, everything gets known. Once you know the knowingness, now what is left to be known? Because the ignorance is destroyed. It's gone. Then he's now just winding up. It's like a summary verse now, 28th verse. In case someone still needs to realign the thinking, what should be my approach to thought? Kim Swarupam iti Atmadarshane. Kim Swarupam. In the previous one, he gave a question. Manasa to Kim. Know what is your mind. And you will arrive at the point that there is nothing called mind. Now he is giving us another question. Just ask yourself, what is my nature? Swarup. I'll ask you first a question. What is your roop? Aapka roop kya hai? What is your roop? Roop means, what is your form?
Gross body appearance?
Yeah, correct. Appearance. What is your appearance? What is Swarup? So, my real appearance. Actual. Many. There was one session of channeling, because it was in those days very, very popular. One session of channeling I attended just to know what it was. And they gave a very interesting, can't say it's theory, but their model, let me put it this way. They said ego is always projecting, is constantly projecting its own identity. What are they doing? Ego is always projecting your own identity. Appearance is the word they used. It has constantly, you have some new appearance about you. You're projecting your own appearance, how you want to be, how you like to be, how you want others to see you. So at any point, you have covered a lot of appearances on yourself. These are all false according to how they were going. But this part of it I've just picked up because, yes, up to this point, we seem to be saying similar. Idea is individuality is entirely layered, projected. Projected is actually the right word. We have projected our individuality. Swarupa means one's own nature free of all these projections. So say things like channeling at that time, I have no clue in the present time what I'm disconnected. So no questions. I really don't know. At that time, I think it is about 20 years ago, maybe it was like I was hearing it from a lot of sources. People were saying channeling, channeling, and this channel, that channel, and it helps you to free yourself. And so I just wanted to know what really is, how authentic or worthwhile is what is claimed. But that is, I said, only one. But this part of it is what the whole model is built around through whatever channeling, and I don't know what that process is, but they're working to help you remove your projections. I have no clue how it works. Here, what is Vedanta saying? Your entire individuality is a projection. I'm taking those words only because it's helping to convey the point. The entire personality is a projection. That is your rupam. It's an appearance. Roop hai ye. It has many qualities in it. और ये बदलता है. There are so many of us who are so self-conscious that in front of some person we have to be something, then in another person we have to be something else. It's just a build-up in later on. Some of us, of course, know the word, but later on you see adhyasa is the word. You have layers and layers of self-erroneous conclusions about yourself. So what has happened? The swarupam is misapprehended, so overwritten so many times that what is my real nature seems to have got lost. I'm not able to identify my real nature. My rhythm also, nature's rhythm also, as a child, I'm different. Growing up, I'm different. A little old, I'm different, etc. By the nature's rhythm between birth and death that the body goes also, there are so many changes. On top of it, I myself are projecting constantly my individuality that I think at that point of time will give me something. Swarupam, Ramana says, Kim Swarupam? Just go asking, what is my Swarup? If you've got the thought flow now, you'll be able to answer the question I asked. If you are asking, what is my Swarupam? Just staying with the question, inquiring what is my Swarupam? What will happen?
There has to be something common and constant
Correct.
because
So what will happen in the context of all this appearance and projection that we just did? Roop ka kya hoga?
it will dissolve.
So you will the rupam will constantly keep getting destroyed or dissolved. Kim Swarupam, in the light of Kim Swarupam, all the rupams are falsified. The mithyatvam is clear. They are just mere projections. Just as on the rope, one person can project a snake, another person will project a garden, another person will project a crack in the earth, or there is a Sanskrit verse common saying, sky, cloud, when you have clouds take certain forms sometimes, and we start seeing some animals, some flowers, some images we see, some rath we see, chariot we see sometimes, some Bhagwan we see sometimes, some bird we see sometimes. The clouds, in the cloud we have seen projected something else. When you just shift the vision to the cloud as cloud, what will happen to the projection?
It disappears.
You will see, if you ever get this vision anywhere, sometimes you see, once we saw a cloud like that, and just when you see that cloud and you see, oh my God, is that there? And then you focus your eyes a little better because you know it can't be. So, this is at least a knowledge you have. But the minute you like kind of, at the moment I'm like correcting my eyesight, the minute you like blink your eyes a few times and you correct your vision and look at deeply, closely at the cloud and try to see the cloud as a cloud, that form disappears. It's fascinating. And then when you try and bring the form back, sometimes you can, it's fun. Sometimes you can't. But you saw the Swarupam. Kim Swarupam, unless and until you are picking up the essential nature of your own being, your own self, you're today a breathing individual, you are a feeling individual, you are a thinking individual, you are a wanting individual, you are a hoping individual, you are a gaining individual, you are a losing, the idea that I'm losing something, I'm all this is the individual projections, rupa, 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 nama, rupa, that rupa, constant projection on oneself. I am this, I'm not this, I want this, etc., etc. This everybody knows well. He says, your swarupam, what do you get? Atma darshane. Your swarupam reveals itself as Atma. You have an insight. Darshan ho gaya. Darshan ho gaya is not with the eyes, obviously. Atma darshan. Your own swarupam is shown to you as it. You see your swarupam. Not with the eyes, but you recognize it. It's knowledge. And what is its nature? Swarupam avyaya. It is changeless. Abhava. It is unborn. Apurna. It is ever filled, fulfilled. Chit. It is consciousness. Sukham. It's happiness. Now, I'm asking a question. Rupam. In my idea of me, is avyaya expressed today? To me, as an individual, my roop is avyaya. I'm changeless. Is that my knowledge?
No, I'm always changing.
I'm always changing. Absolutely. So what does that? I'm always, see, that's my knowledge today. And nobody can change it for me. I am established knowledge. According to this simple verse, seemingly, ये आपका रूप है, स्वरूप नहीं है. Abhava. In my eye today, my knowledge of myself, am I unborn? Birthless? If I was, why did I celebrate my birthday? Abhava. I'm birthless. Is that true?
No,
What is my Knowledge of myself.
I was born and I will die.
I was born. Not only that, what happens with every birth date?
I grow older. I grow older with every birthday.
Exactly. So every birthday tells me I'm growing older and I'm coming closer to death. I'm going to have my old age issues. I'm going to have my old blah, 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 blah. Because my roop, the minute I have this knowledge, by this verse I can clearly say, ये रूप है, स्वरूप नहीं है. क्योंकि स्वरूप का ज्ञान क्या होगा? It is above. I'm never born. Apurna. What do I feel today?
Incomplete.
Incomplete. I
Always
feel I
wanting.
want, always wanting, always seeking. कुछ missing है. I'm always feeling कुछ 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 कम है. कुछ missing है. Apurna. That means the minute I say कुछ missing है, कुछ कम है, कुछ और चाहिए, कुछ that means this is my rupa. Chit. Ever knowing. Oh no, this so I think all of us. I do not know anything. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want. I don't know what will get me happiness. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to be. All this is rupam. Because chit is all knowing swabhav of yours. It's a knowingness is chit. Sukham. How do I know myself today?
Confused. Not happy.
Kabhi
I'm
not happy, kabhi sukh, kabhi wanting more sukh, kabhi once in a while very sukhi. That very sukhi is lasting so short time कि ऐसा लगता है कि अरे आके चला भी गया तो पल में तो बदल गया सब कुछ. Etc. Even if it lasts a long time, I still am wanting more sukh. Even if I'm sukhi, I want more sukh. So if you do not recognize yourself as your nature is sukh, then that means clearly this is rupam, not swarupam. Because swarupa lakshana is, swarupa nature is. By nature it is avyaya, abhava, apurna, chittan, sukham. Once you have that knowledge of yourself, then this is Atma Darshana. Then what happens? Next verse he says, Bandha Mukta Atitam Param Sukham. Your Atit means beyond, gone, above, free of. What all? The duality of now bound and now free. This duality comes together. If I'm feeling bound, I'm wanting freedom. If I have freedom relative, I'm thinking I'll get bound tomorrow. That bondage and freedom rising above this duality. Vindatiha jivaha. This, the one who is risen, rising above bondage and seeking freedom, this one gains, this jivaha gains, vindati, iha, here, now, paramasukham, the supremest joy. What was param sukham? Your swarupam. ऊपर की लाइन में. That swarupam Satchit Sukham, that Sukham is Parama Sukham because there's nothing, no higher joy than that. In the world, we have gradations of joy. Ice cream joy, lollipop joy, chocolate joy, etc. Emotional joy, intellectual joy, having accomplished something joy, having gone somewhere joy, having got something joy. There are joys of gradations, owning something joy, etc. etc. Joys have gradations, but that joy which will not have any other superlative above, Paramasukham, it has no the greater joy than that. That Jivahatu, Daivikaha, that Jivaha is now a divine individual in that sense. The divinity streams forth because it's not interrupted by, it is not obstacled by the egoistic small I. So the one who rises above both bondage and seeking freedom means once the Swarupam is known, there is neither bondage nor freedom. It's an important point. In Swarupam, there is neither bondage nor freedom. Because this concept of freedom is only arriving when one is feeling the bondage. And what is the bondage one is feeling about? Bound to the body, bound to my thoughts, bound to my wants, etc. I feel bound by them. Therefore, I want to break the shackle. I want freedom. This divine Daivikaha means what is referred to as divine. This Jivaha has reached his own divine nature, his own divine being. Reached in the sense he's now in touch with, now in recognition with his own divine being. Then the last verse Ramana concludes. Very beautiful. Aham apetakam. Aham apetakam. I apeta. Apet means devoid of, free of. Free of aham. I. Nij vibhanakam. Oneself. Vibhanakam means the revealer. जो दिखा रहा है. Nij vibhanakam, the revealer of oneself. Mahat idam tapaha. This is the greatest, mahat, huge. Idam, here. This, tapaha, tapas. Discarding the egoistic I itself becomes the revealer of oneself, Swarupam, which is, Ramana doesn't need to use word Atma, Brahman, nothing. Simple. Oneself is Atma Brahman. That Shastra is helping us understand. This oneself is not the individual. That individual egoistic, when one discards, it becomes the revealer of one's own self. And Ramana says, Ramana Vak Iyam. These are the words of this Iyam here. Ramana Vak are the words of Ramana. What does he say? It is great tapas. Great tapas. Mahat, huge. Actually, great ko chhod do. Mahat, huge. It's a huge tapas. Which means what? It's a full commitment. It is not an occasional, casual, sitting in coffee day, having discussions. Who am I? An intellectual approach to it, and having vaad vivad with each other. This is right, that is right, no. But this, because it is going to be mahat tapas. It'll be a huge tapas. That is why not everybody embarks on it. And whoever does, even if you take a small step in that, it may look huge tapas for you, the step may be small. That is huge because that never gets destroyed. The gain towards Atma Vidya never destroyed. So whatever projection, whatever rupam of yours you have discarded, you've been successful enough to discard the egoistic rupam of yours, that much also are you've done a great tapas. Because the greatest tapas will be knowing, having completely discarded yourself. So with this, our Upadesha Sar ends. Totally by, I would say, Ishvara's anugraha, our own anugraha, your inquiry, your consistency, your pursuit, your jignasa, because this can't happen till that is there. With this, doing the classes now, still ask. If you have later also, you can ask, no problem, I'll reply back by mail, whichever way. Yeah, for some time I will be rebooting, reboot myself. I'll take some, I don't know how long, I don't plan, but I will take some break in between because I also have some. We will conclude the class. You want to do the Shanti Mantra? Okay.
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां फलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति Can't hear you, Deepti ji.
Oh, I said, okay. Hari Om, everyone. Take care, stay safe, and keep growing and keep learning.
Thank you, Deepti ji.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,